rehabilitation. Yusuf Ganil reports.
Effective primary healthcare delivery remains the bedrock for an efficient health system in any society. For this reason, the Ogun State government is beginning to walk its talk by rehabilitating primary healthcare centers in the Ogun State to reduce its maternal and mortality rate. 20 centers are on the list of the government for rehabilitation. Inspecting the primary healthcare centers, Commissioner for Health Dr. Tomi Koka says the current administration is committed to ensuring that its health sector, especially the primary healthcare centers, are well equipped and standardized for the well-being of the people.
This is key in that we know that the greatest maternal mortality occurs at this level, and if we actually want to make a difference to the maternal mortality, we have to start at the grassroots, which is the primary healthcare center is the nearest facility for the people in the wards, and for us to actually improve the healthcare in any shape or form, we have to start from this point, ensuring they have the right drugs, the right personnel, the right facility and the right equipment to actually deliver quality, accessible and affordable care to the people of Ogun State.
Dr. Koka, Special Advisor to the Governor on Health, Dr. Tayo Lawal, also notes that it is important to put in place health facilities that are befitting and accessible for essential service delivery.
But to abandon the health service is not an option. It is the only way forward, and soon we will be providing free health care for all pregnant women and children from the age of 0 to 5, and also for treatment of simple things like malaria, diabetes and hypertension. And the ambulance service, the emergency service is going to be a lot better, so that the people will not be out of pockets in seeking quality health care.
If we are going to make much impact, it's usually at the primary health care level because of the accessibility and the fact that they are closer to the community. So that's why it's very, very important that we have a facility that is befitting, that the people can call their own and be proud of.
This initiative is described as a welcome development that would bring about improvement to the sector.
The governor is really working very hard, especially with the health system of Ogun State. If he has started with primary health care, then I know he is on the right path.
And if it is done, we believe that it is going to help a lot, because this particular center is serving a lot of communities here.
It's highly encouraging because this will motivate our staff to put more effort in their job.
The centers visited by the team are in Ewekoro local government, Obada, Songwata, Oyero in Ifo, Yowa South Local Government Health Center, Agility, and Erumbe Primary Healthcare Center, Abeokuta South Local Government areas. Yusuf Ganiyu, Ogtv News.
A set of training models on safe practices in healthcare waste management have been approved by the Ogun State government to prevent waste handlers from health hazards. This was made known by the Special Advisor to the State Governor on Environment, Mr. Ola Oresanya, during the first training on healthcare waste management to curb the community spread of COVID-19 among health workers in the state. Adebola Oshomoji was at Olabisi Onabanjo University Teaching Hospital, Shagamu, venue of the event. A report.
Towards creating awareness among hospital patients and visitors regarding good hygiene, the Ministry of Environment, through Ogun State Waste Management Authority, OGWMA, has organized the first training module on safe practices in healthcare waste management to prevent the spread of coronavirus and other related health hazards in the state.
Every waste that is associated with that patient is regarded as an infectious waste. And we know that this was definitely going to put the waste handlers at risk. Hence the need for this training.
Speaking on the importance of the training, the Special Advisor to the Governor on Environment, Mr. Ola Oresanya, emphasizes on the risk of unsafe disposal method in healthcare services.
Most of the private hospitals, we don't have the formal means of disposing of the waste, and this thing goes on and on. But from now, it is not going to be like that again. So any hospital in Ogun State or any healthcare waste practitioner in Ogun State must follow that new protocol, that new ways of managing healthcare waste in the state.
He advises waste managers to be more responsible in the discharge of their duties, adding that the state government has set standard in managing the chain of waste collection by developing hygienic and economical disposal of medical waste across the states.
Those color-coded bags should indicate, should guide those who are going to handle it. When I see a red bag, I know this is a highly, highly infectious waste, and the way you handle it, to be very, very careful. The yellow one indicates that it's infectious, all right, but not as dangerous as the red one, all right? And the brown one is telling you that it's also dangerous waste, right? Every healthcare waste is hazardous. We are equally training the PSPs in Ogun State, those who are handling the normal domestic waste, to know that every waste bin now is a potential healthcare waste bin. And it's very, very dangerous. We have a lot of people treating themselves in homes. We have a lot of people treating themselves in unorthodox area. We have a lot of patient medicine treating even people who are contaminated and disposing this all over. So we don't want the community to spread through this area, and that is where we are aggressively moving towards. The governor is aggressively has given a directive that we should nip it in the bud at this stage.
Participants lauded the initiative, which they said will widen their knowledge on healthcare waste issues, including the risk involved in salvaging discarded syringes and hypodermic needles.
Actually, Ogun State have done it so well, because knowledge is power. Something you don't understand, you may not know.
Waste collected from a patient to an appropriate place, it will hinder transmission to other people, even to yourself.
Health and safety at workplace and environmental awareness are the responsibility of all towards moving the state forward. Adebola Oshomoji, Ogtv News.
The Lagos State branch of the Nigerian Medical Association has directed its members to sit at home from 6 in the evening today, Wednesday, May 20, 2020. This follows the conflicting order restricting the movement of essential workers amid the COVID-19 lockdown. In a statement signed by the chairman, Dr. Soliu Oseni, and the secretary of the association, Dr. Morunkola Rahman, the NMA deplored the comment of the Commissioner of Police in Lagos State to the effect that essential workers, including doctors and other health workers, are not exempted from the restriction. The association revealed that the confusion has led to the harassment and intimidation of its members and other health workers, including stopping an ambulance from conveying a patient from getting to its destination. The association vowed that its members will not go back to work until a written statement is issued by the government and police authorities stating in clear terms the status of essential workers as the curfew enforcement continues. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, IGP Mohammed Adamu, has reversed the order restricting movement of essential service providers following the COVID-19 lockdown. After a virtual meeting, the Inspector General had directed strict enforcement of interstate movement restriction and the provision of the curfew. Following Adamu's order, essential service providers, especially health workers and journalists, were detained by policemen on Tuesday night, leading to an outcry in Lagos. Many of the detained essential service providers were forced to sleep in their cars at the police stations, while Nigeria Medical Association NMA Lagos chapter declared an indefinite strike. However, on Wednesday, a statement by DCP Frank Mba, First Public Relations Officer, reversed the order. It stated that all essential workers, including medical personnel, firefighters, ambulance service, journalists, and others are exempted from the restriction of movement associated with the partial lockdown and national curfew across the Federation. The Inspector General of Police, IGP Mohammed Adamu, has therefore directed all Zonal Assistant Inspectors General of Police and Command Commissioner of Police to give effect to these exemptions while enforcing the restriction orders. Bauchi State Government has lifted the ban on religious activities and suspended the lockdown imposed on residents in the state. This, according to the State Governor Mohammed Bala, it takes effect from Thursday, May 21. The Governor made the announcement at the stakeholders meeting held at the Command's Guest House in Bauchi, the state capital. He explained that the development followed the success achieved so far in the management of the COVID-19 pandemic in the state and enjoined the stakeholders to assist the government in ensuring that the protective tools put in place are adhered to strictly in order to be free from the infection. According to the governor, people will go about their normal businesses, pray on Friday and Eid. The governor commended their religious leaders and traditional rulers for their support and cooperation while the lockdown lasted, and added that whatever decision arrived at will be fully implemented as the World Health Organization, WHO, has made it clear that the pandemic is here to stay. No fewer than 8 doctors are confirmed to have tested positive to coronavirus disease in Zamfara. The state's branch of the Nigeria Medical Association, NMA, has said. The NMA vice chairman in the state, Dr. Manir Batori, made the disclosure during a chat with journalists in Gusau on Wednesday. He said out of about 80 confirmed cases recorded so far in the state, 10% are doctors who came in contact with the virus in the line of duty while trying to save lives, especially at emergencies. Dr. Batori also said 30 other doctors who came in contact with their infected colleagues went into self-isolation in order to curb the further spread of the virus in the state. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said on Wednesday that the developed world could learn lessons from the preventive measures taken by many African countries to stem the spread of the coronavirus. COVID-19, is said, has made much slower progress in Africa than the predictions that were made at the beginning of the crisis. He added that this has been largely to the fact that most African governments and organizations took measures which provided a lesson for some developed nations that did not. There have been no fewer than 3,000 COVID-19 deaths from 88,000 cases of the disease registered throughout the African continent, relatively low numbers compared to over 320,000 deaths worldwide. Guterres also called for a more regularized easing of debt payments for the poorest countries. Last month, G20 and Paris Club creditor nations agreed to waive more debt payments for the world's poorest countries in 2020 as a result of the coronavirus crisis, but Guterres called this move insufficient. A total of 41 African nations are involved, and on Tuesday, Mali became the first to secure a moratorium in debt payments from the Paris Club of Creditor Nations. In part 2 of the bulletin, 292 stranded Nigerians returned from Saudi Arabia. Details after the break.
I not fit forget the day we all will life change forever.
It is now a reality. We will all face a global unprecedented crisis.
But even as we dey wrestle with this wahala wey brekete for this kind critical time, we don't promise ourselves say we go do better pass as we dey do before. And wetin we go do no be just for we o, na to see say we customer dem dey safe as we dey give them all the better things wey dem need pass for the price we no go tear dem pocket, because that na our work wey we must to do. We tanda gidigba for you all the time, and we go service you with joy and jollity every day.
You're welcome back. The wife of the governor of Ogun State, Mrs. Bamidele Abiodun, will on Wednesday, May 27, 2020, host the children of the state online to mark this year's Children's Day. The press officer, Office of the First Lady, Kemi Oyileye, in a statement said the virtual session necessitated by COVID-19 lockdown is necessary to celebrate the children and further give an assurance of a brighter tomorrow. The session, which will be via a video conferencing app, features children from all the 20 local government areas of the state participating in different activities that include panel discussion, quiz, talent show, music games, and others. The event, which is in conjunction with the State Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development, will be moderated by an on-air personality and convener of Integrity Campaign, Mr. Dari Adidotun. Meanwhile, there is a window of opportunity for children with talents or special gifts to get selected for performance by sending short video samples of their skill in not more than 30 seconds to WhatsApp number 0705 3356 758. The Ogun State government has reaffirmed commitment towards ensuring food security by strengthening the agricultural sector. The Deputy Governor, Engineer Noimot Salako Ojidele, stated this during a delivery of COVID-19 relief items from management of Infinity Snacks and Beverages Limited at her office in Abeokuta. She thanked the company for supporting the government towards proper management of COVID-19 in the state and mitigating the effects of the lockdown on the people.
We will continue to work with the farmers to make sure that we support them. And the programs of this government, if you are following them, the Anchor Boros program, the Youth Farmers Initiatives, and all these things are to be able to reinvigorate the agricultural sector in this state. One of our aims as a government is to make the state the food basket of the country.
The managing director of the company, Mr. Mohan Kaki, implored government to assist indigenous farmers as the food processing companies rely on their output. In another development, the Deputy Governor, Engineer Naimot Salako Oyedele, received a 5-man delegation from the Celestial Church of Christ, CCC Worldwide, at the instance of Church Head Worldwide, Dr. Reverend Emmanuel Mubino Oshofa. The Deputy Governor expressed gratitude to CCC for its generous donation of 10 million naira to Ogun State government to cushion the effects of COVID-19 pandemic in the state.
I'd like to extend the appreciation of the government and people of Ogun State to the church for the generous donation which we have made towards mitigating the effect of COVID-19 in Ogun State.
The delegation of 5 clerics led by Most Superior Evangelist Jacob Nunayon have come to express solidarity and support to the government and the people of Ogun State in the war against COVID-19. The extension of the tenure of Local Government Transition Committee in Ogun State for a period of 3 months with effect from 18th of April 2020 had received the nod of the State Assembly. The approval of the Assembly followed a motion moved by the Majority Leader, Honorable Sharif Yusuf, and seconded by Honorable Lamidi Musefiu at a plenary held at the Assembly Complex in Abeokuta. Correspondent Kola Woliosho covered the plenary, and his report is presented in this package.
The Ogun State House of Assembly at a plenary approved the extension of the tenure of local government transition committees for a period of 3 months with effect from 18th of April 2020. The approval followed a motion moved by the Majority Leader, Honorable Yusuf Sharif, seconded by the Deputy Minority Leader, Honorable Mushafiu Lamidi, and supported by other lawmakers through a voice vote.
The tenure of the local government transition chairman committee in Ogun State is hereby extended for another 3 months, effective 18th of April 2020. I so order.
It would be recalled that the Speaker, Right Honorable Olakunle Oluomo, during the previous plenary, acknowledged Governor Dapo Abiodun's correspondence requesting for a 3-month extension, considering the fact that local government elections has not been conducted due to prevailing circumstances, which made the extension expedient with a view to averting the creation of vacuum in the council's administration. Under personal explanation, Honorable Adeyanju Adegoke registered his displeasure over the way and manner of which security operatives are treating the people of his constituency with the executive order given to them by the presidency. He states further that under the guise of discharging their duties, they killed innocent person and cited the case of Imashai in which many people were injured.
Like what happened March this year in the Imashai community. During the market day, then with the soldier, start everything, started shooting because of the back right. At least people were injured, but that happened that no officer heard about. On that issue, one police officer died. 7 men from that community have been police custody since then. At least in the West, as of today, this year, more than 12 innocent souls have been killed by these women, either by accidental discharge, and none of them have been prosecuted. Please, after that, Mr. Rono, please come to our rescue.
The truth of the matter is there is no way we can do away with security agents in our borders. It's a matter of international law that we have to be there. I will appeal to the governor to please do more by considering the case of those that were arrested at Imashai.
He lauded the initiative of the Security Trust Fund set up by Prince Dakwa Abiodun-led administration, urging the governor to set up Neighborhood Watch to monitor the activities of those security operatives at the border areas of the state.
Ministries, departments and government agencies as well as parastatals in Ogun State have been directed to submit to the State House of Assembly records of activities including income generated in the last 1 year on or before 3rd of June 2020. Speaker Right Honorable Olakunle Oluomo gave the directive sequel to a motion moved by the Majority Leader Honorable Sharif Yusuf and seconded by Minority Leader Honorable Ganiu Oyedeji and supported by the whole House through a voice note.
The opinion of this House that all the all MPs and Parastatals in the state submit their record of activities in the last 1 year, including revenue, income generated, activities, contracts, whatever, to the House by 3rd of June 2020 to enable us to prepare for oversight function. Those in support say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Earlier, under personal explanations, Chairman House Committee on Finance and Appropriation, Honorable Olakunle Shobukola, and Chairman House Committee on Information, Culture and Tourism, Honorable Yusuf Adejojo, sought the approval from the House for detailed records of the activities of ministries, departments and agencies in the last 1 year. The MDAs are expected to submit records including income, expenditure and other useful information on the achievements of the current administration. To put the issues of the current security challenges in schools across Ogun State to rest, stakeholders in the education sector and the State Command of the Nigeria Police Force must collaborate to achieve the needed result. This was the outcome of a stakeholders meeting between officials of the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, led by the Special Advisor to the Governor on Primary Education, Mrs. Ronke Shoyombo, and the Commissioner of Police, Ogun State Command, Kenneth Ibrahimson, on how to further strengthen security in primary and secondary schools in the state at the CP's office, Elewiro, Abeokuta. Matthew Shoumi completes the report.
This meeting between officials of the Ogun State Ministry of Education, Science and Technology and the Commissioner of Police, Ogun State Command, Kenneth Ibrahimson, is to address the current security challenges in primary and secondary schools in the state. Mrs. Shoyombo spoke on the essence of the meeting as she expressed the concern of the ministry on the growing insecurity and disturbances in schools across the states.
We deal with the normal lessons, we do teaching and learning, but by 2 o'clock, we have hoodlums at our doorstep saying, can you close for the day?
Chairman of All Nigerian Conference of Principals of Public Schools in Ogun State and that of Association of Primary School Head Teachers of Nigeria, and Director of Information Teaching Service Commission, laid the issues before the Commissioner of Police as they identified acts of hooliganism in schools, substance abuse, encroachment, and breach of security as some of the issues that need urgent attention.
Because of the nature of the children that we handle, these children are prone to a lot of behavior.
The issue of security is physically a sine qua non for a peaceful environment. This is the beginning of that greater synergy. I want to assure you that. So at the end of the day, we have a crime-free school environment in the state.
Responding, Kenneth Ebrimson said the security architecture of the state, which the command has structured for efficient performance, takes cognizance of all facets of the state, which the education sector is a crucial part of, and revealed that a blueprint tagged Saver School Initiative has been evolved to address all the challenges in the sector. The Commissioner of Police called on the heads of school to involve the divisional police officers in their areas in the security of their schools.
It's not too practicable to dot policemen from one school to the other, but there are something we call Aberdeen system of patrol. Aberdeen system of patrol is used policemen in a patrol vehicle to show high visibility presence within a particular group. That is what I intended to bring in on board as part of the measures to curb insecurity in the schools.
There were further discussions on how to effectively secure schools across the state, and the stakeholders expressed their minds at the end of the meeting.
And to me, it's opening a new chapter where education is really going to synergize with police force. Because with that, it would actually tighten up security in our schools, because we need to have conducive and safer environment for our children.
The principals will be relating with the DPOs in their various local governments, in their various areas, and then at that level, they will be able to nip any criminality in the bud.
The decisions taken from here will no doubt go a long way in putting an end to the breakdown of law and order in all public primary and secondary schools in the states. Matthew Shomi, Ogtv News.
The federal government has evacuated 292 persons who were stranded in Saudi Arabia due to the lockdown necessitated by the COVID-19 pandemic. The flight conveying the evacuees arrived late on Tuesday night at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. Their arrival was announced on Wednesday morning by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, via his official Twitter handle. He said a large number of the evacuees are nursing mothers and children, and they are all comfortably settled in hotels under the mandatory 14-day quarantine. The Federal Executive Council (FEC) has approved proposals by the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning for projects worth over 1 billion naira. The Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, disclosed this on Wednesday while briefing State House correspondents after the week's FEC meeting, which was held virtually. Giving a breakdown of the approvals, the minister said while Ministry of Education secured an approval for the construction of the health facility at the Plateau State University at the cost of over 600 million naira, as well as over 114 million naira projects for the procurement of furniture and other equipment. He said further that the FEC approved the proposal brought by the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning for the procurement of computers for zonal and area commands of the Nigerian Customs Service at the value of 623 million naira. The House of Representatives has asked the federal government to develop a long-term socio-economic plan for Nigeria. The lawmakers adopted the motion at the plenary entitled "Need for Nigeria to Develop a Long-Term Socio-Economic Development Framework Vision." The House urged the federal government to develop a smart 40-year strategic economic master plan and development strategy and economic framework to implement the strategy. The House also urged all relevant agencies to articulate a long-term agenda anchored on the government's socio-economic development framework. The lawmakers mandated its Committee on National Planning and Economic Development to ensure compliance with the resolution. The Federal High Court in Abuja on Wednesday rejected a request to restrain the House of Representatives from continuing the consideration of the controversial Control of Infectious Diseases Bill 2020, widely referred to as the Nigeria Center for Disease Control Bill. Justice Ijeoma Ojukwu, in a ruling, refused to grant the order because of the Speaker of the House of Representatives. The third defendant in the suit had yet to be served with the court documents. She adjourned the case till June 1 for further hearing in the case, which was instituted on May 5, 2020 by a former senator representing Kogi West, Dino Melaye. Wednesday made the second time the court declined the request by the plaintiff to restrain the respondent from continuing the consideration of the bill. Earlier on May 13, 2020, the judge refused an ex parte application by the plaintiff asking for an order directing parties to maintain status quo in the matter. The judge had, instead of granting the restraining order, summoned the 5 respondents in the suit to appear in court on Wednesday to defend the bill from being stopped by an interim court order as requested by the plaintiff. The respondents to the bill are the Clerk of the National Assembly, the Clerk of the House of Representatives, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, the Attorney General of the Federation, Mr. Abubakar Malami, and the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Mohammed Adamu. Adamawa State Government has approved the release of 173 inmates from various correctional centers in the state. This was announced by the Adamawa State Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice, Justice Ishaya Bano, while addressing journalists in Yola, the state capital. He said the exercise is in response to the directive by the presidency that the state governors should consider certain categories of inmates for release from custody to prevent the spread of the COVID-19 virus. Bano added that Adamawa State Government therefore set up a jail delivery committee to visit all the custodial facilities with the aim of decongesting the correctional centers. The chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association, Yola Aji Kamali, described the exercise as a good development. The Federal High Court in Lagos has fixed June 2nd to hear an application by a former Abia State Governor, Senator Orji Uzor Kalu, seeking his release from prison. The motion on notice will be heard by Justice Mohammed Liman. Orji is serving a 12-year jail term at the Correctional Service Center in Kuje, Abuja, for looting 7.65 billion naira belonging to Abia State. The Senate's Chief Whip has hired a 12-man team of lawyers, including 6 senior advocates of Nigeria SANS, to prosecute his freedom bid. He filed the motion on May 12, asking the court to nullify his conviction. Justice Mohammed Idris of the Federal High Court last December 5 convicted Kalu and a former director of finance in the state government house, Ude Jones Udogu, of the offense. Udogu backed 10 years imprisonment. Kalu is contending that no legal basis exists for his continued incarceration following the Supreme Court judgment, which declared his trial a nullity and freed Udogu.